Hey guys, just wanted to say what you're about to see is my permanent intro. So, for a while, that is. I'm probably not going to change this for a while. So, are you ready? Here we go. No, you'll never be alone. When darkness comes out, light the night with stars. Hear the whispers in the dark. You'll never be alone. When darkness comes, you know I'll never fall. Hear the whispers in the dark. Hello, everyone. It's your boy, the TheTatermeister, back once again with an epic video. Yes, 600 subscribers, we've done it. As I post this video, we will have 600 subscribers on the Meister Squad, the TheTatermeister YouTube channel. Yes. And as promised, it is time. Wait. Sorry, I'm just a little overwhelmed, I guess. So, yes. A long time ago, I promised on different things that I would reveal something on the channel. My favorite movies of all time. My top 15 favorite movies of all time. The 10 out of 10 club. Two of them you already know, Joker and Endgame. I've already revealed them this year. They've joined the 10 out of 10 club. But what are the other 13 movies? What are the other 13 movies that were worthy enough to join the 10 out of 10 club, you may ask? Well, today we will reveal them. And I will tell you my top 15 movies of all time in this video. So, it's going to be a very special video for all you all that have been loyal to me over the years and subscribed. And, yeah. No, this is just my opinion of my favorite movies of all time. Maybe you won't agree with some of the movies on this list, but a lot of people should reveal what their favorite movies of all time is. And I've watched lots of movies in my life, and movies are my life. And I think it's about time I reveal to you what my favorite movies of all time are. So, without further ado, it's time to reveal the 10 out of 10 club, the TheTatermeister 10 out of 10 club, the top 15 movies of all time, in my opinion. And honestly, I don't know. I feel like they are, but, no Shawshank Redemption's not on the list. So, let's get on with number 15, which is...
I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion. I watched sea beams glitter in the dark near the 10-house gate. All those moments will be lost in time, like tears in rain.
Yes, the original Blade Runner has skated on in at the very beginning of the top 15, the 10 out of 10 club. Now, I might do full reviews on each of these movies in the club eventually. This is just a summary of what my thoughts of each of these films are. And Blade Runner is a masterpiece, to say the least. And if this is my favorite Ridley Scott movie, it's one of the greatest sci-fi movies ever made, and it's honestly Harrison Ford's in 2 of the 10 out of 10 club movies. I mean, he just goes to show how good of an actor he is. I mean, Harrison Ford's awesome as frick, and I'm not biasing that, but Ridley Scott, I mean, crafted something magical with this movie. Unfortunately, the sequel didn't really deliver as I wanted it to. I don't like the sequel at all. I mean, the sequel's garbage, honestly, in a lot of ways. But as a standalone movie, the sequel's all right. As a sequel, it's terrible, but I stand by that. The first movie, on the other hand, though, is just fantastic. Reuter Hager is one of the best villains of all time as Roy Betty. Freaking Deckard is an excellent character, kicking butt. The action is suspenseful. The dialogue is thrilling and powerful. The direction is flawless. Everything about this movie is flawless. And I mean, I love Alien and all of Ridley Scott's work, but if I had to choose a favorite, it's definitely Blade Runner. I mean, Ridley Scott is a prodigy. Every movie Ridley Scott makes is a piece of art. Even Alien, even Prometheus, which I thought was, but even that one was good. Everything Ridley Scott makes is something special, and Blade Runner is the epitome of that. So let's move on to number 14.
Bank left. Level out. That's it. Boys.
Yes, Avatar is still on the list after all these years. Now, I gotta give credit to Avatar where Avatar is due. Avatar is one of the reasons I love film so much. This, King Kong, and my number 2 spot are the main, and number 1 obviously, but number 2, number 1, this movie, and King Kong are 4 of the films that and I guess in the number 2 spot, okay, whatever, but this is one of the reasons I got into film and why I love film so much. So I know Avatar gets a lot of hate and it gets a lot of, things about it, but to me, it was one of the best theater experiences of my life. I remember I have so much nostalgic value to this film, and this film really just, resonated with me. James Cameron is such a great filmmaker. I mean, all of his films, he's my favorite director, and all of his films, especially this one in the number 2 spot, which I'm going to talk about, or number 3 spot, which I'm going to talk about later. Avatar is just one of those movies that just, blows my mind every time I watch it. The visual effects, the story gets to me. I loved all the characters, like Yeatri and Jake Sully and all these characters that, I mean, that's the thing. The reason it used to be way higher up on the list, but lately I've been thinking about it and I'm like, this kind of deserves to be lower on the list. It is more entertaining than Blade Runner. I like it more than Blade Runner a little bit because I don't watch Blade Runner that much compared to Avatar. I watch Avatar a lot. Actually, a lot. I watched it like 6 times. But Avatar is just one of those movies that's just resonated with me, and it really influenced whole new, it proved what you can do with CGI. This movie impacted the film industry more than most films on this list. I mean, it changed the game for 3D, for visual effects, and no matter what you want to criticize about it, it just changed the game. I mean, this movie really impacted the world in a way that, I think people don't give it enough credit for. And after Terminator Dark Fate came out, I think we can all agree this movie's better than that, right? So even I can agree with that, but I think people just give this movie shit because they say it's overrated, or they just don't understand it, or they just say it's copying off other things. But I guess you can equate it to Lion King. I feel the same way about Lion King. I don't think Lion King's the best animated movie of all time. I don't think Lion King, but honestly, Avatar just impacted the world a lot more than Lion King did. Lion King got remade and it's been overdone. Avatar's only had 1 movie. Now I'm worried about the Avatar sequels, but it's James Cameron we're talking about. James Cameron is a master making sequels, so I'm not doubting his abilities. I think that the Avatar sequels will be really great. So, let's move on to number 13.
I've taught you much, my little droogies. Now tell me what you had in mind, Georgie boy.
Oh, the old Moloko Plus first, would you not say? He's coming to sharpen us up.
Some of the Moloko Plus.
But you especially, we have the start.
Yeah, you got
first because we've got start on you. Yeah, Moloko Plus, eh? Yeah.
As we walked along the flat block marina, I was calm on the outside, but thinking all the time. So now it was to be Georgie the General, saying what we should do and what not to do, and Dim as his mindless, grinning bulldog. But suddenly I vidded that thinking was for the gloopy ones, and that the omni ones used like inspiration and what bog sends. For now it was lovely music that came to my aid. There was a window open with the stereo on, and I vidded right at once what to do.
Yes, number 13 is Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange. Now, I've been through many people before, but whenever they ask me what my favorite Stanley Kubrick movie is, I always say A Clockwork Orange, and rightfully so. Now, granted, I haven't watched this movie in a while, so I haven't really, it's still going to be on this list, even if I rewatch it. I've watched it when I was like 17 to 18, and this movie has stuck with me more than Avatar has, way more. I'm surprised I put Avatar higher than this for a bit. I was obviously being a ding-dong, but, Clockwork Orange is one of those movies that just, you don't forget, ever. I mean, it's quite an unforgettable experience. This movie is so unique, so different, so, art. This movie has influenced so many other movies, and it just proved what boundaries you can do with a rated R film. I mean, some people think it's just too graphic. Some people think it's too ridiculous. Some people think it's, some people say Shining and other movies are better than you made, 2001, and, I'm not saying those movies aren't great. All of Stanley Kubrick's movies are excellent. But for me, Clockwork Orange just was that movie that just really stuck with me and just inspires me and just it continues to be that movie that I'm just like, wow, that's something else. That movie is still something else. If you have not watched Clockwork Orange yet, really you watch it because you're gonna be like, wow, this is something else. It's just a movie you never forget, and it's just an experience. It truly is an epic experience at that. I love Clockwork Orange. I know it's a little bit ridiculous and insane and has some graphic ass crap in it and gets your blood boiling, but it's just that immensely artistic and great. So let's move on to number 12.
But then I started reading. What is this?
Well, as you know, we had some new investors that have come in.
What is this?
Mr. Sav. Mark! Mark!
He's wired in.
Sorry?
He's wired in.
Is he?
Yes.
How about now? You still wired in?
Call security.
You issued 24 million new shares of stock.
You were told that if new investors
How
came
much
along...
were your shares diluted? How much were his?
What was Mr. Zuckerberg's ownership share diluted down to?
It wasn't.
What was Mr. Moskowitz's ownership share diluted down to?
It wasn't.
What was Sean Parker's ownership share diluted down to?
It wasn't.
What was Peter Thiel's ownership share diluted down to?
It wasn't.
And what was your ownership share diluted down to?
0.03%.
All right, at this point of the list, this is where stuff's going to get controversial. You may not agree with some of these opinions. Well, Avatar, you probably didn't agree with either, but, The Social Network is my number 12. It's a 10 out of 10 masterpiece for me. Now, this is a very personal movie for me. In my opinion, The Social Network is the greatest biopic ever made. It was the greatest movie of 2010, one of the greatest modern movies ever made, and David Fincher's best movie. I mean, The Social Network is something else. And I love Fight Club. I love Curious Case of Benjamin Button. I love Nine. I love all of David Fincher's works. But for honestly, The Social Network was something of epicness. It was. There's no biopics that are able to top this movie quite yet. I mean, this movie got nominated for Best Picture, and we got nominated for Best Actor for this role. And I forgot the movie that beat it that year. I think it was Spotlight, I forgot what it was. But I feel like this should have won. I mean, regardless of what movie won that year. I mean, the social network, you know. By the way, this disclaimer, guys, I forgot to mention this at the beginning. I will not be putting any animated movies in the 10 out of 10 club. This is only live action 10 out of 10 club. There's only a few animated movies I consider 10 out of 10, so that's why I'm not really including them in. And animation in itself is a different medium altogether, I feel like. So putting any animated movies in this video is just not fair. Because Toy Story 3 and Spirited Away, Toy Story 3 came out the same year as Social Network. And while I do think, they're about the same, they're just different movies. It's unfair to compare animated to live action, but, anyway, I digress. So, The Social Network is a very personal movie to me. I love Mark Zuckerberg's story, and I love Mark Zuckerberg himself, so obviously I'm a little biased towards this movie, but, and David Fincher just did an excellent job with his story and what he was able to do with it, and Andrew Garfield and Jesse Eisenberg were excellent actors in this movie, and everything about Social Network just makes me happy to watch it. It's just a movie I love rewatching, and it's just, wow, it's a phenomenal film. Anybody that says otherwise, it's just dumb. I mean, whether you like Facebook or not, whether you like Mark Zuckerberg or not, you gotta admit, this movie is something else. So, let's move on to number 11, shall we? Moving on at number 11, we have Silence of the Lambs. Now, recently, 2 movies have entered the club, so that's why Silence of the Lambs has entered in the 11 spot. It used to be in the 10 and 9 spot for a while, but movies have entered, so that's why it's a little lower. But regardless, Silence of the Lambs is epic masterpiece of a movie. And what's crazy about this movie is the director wasn't really well known. I mean, this movie is proof that you really could you can make a great movie and not be a famous director. I mean, because most of the movies on this list have famous directors on them. I mean, on my 10 out of 10 list. I mean, most of them have, crap tons of movies under their belt. Most of them have made other excellent movies. But what's crazy about this one is the guy that actually directed Silence of the Lambs isn't that famous. I mean, let me look up who actually directed it. Yeah, Jonathan Demme. Jonathan Demme isn't really well known for anything except this movie. I mean, granted, he's done a couple other things like Melvin and Howard and Shrinking Shift, but Jonathan Demme died in 2017. Bless his soul. But what's crazy is Ted Talley and everybody else that worked on this movie also did great. Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins, of course. Now, Silence of the Lambs, a lot of people consider it a horror movie. I don't really consider it that. I just consider it a psychological, thought-provoking, masterfully made, suspenseful-ass, great freaking masterpiece of a movie. I mean, Anthony Hopkins delivers a performance of a lifetime as Hannibal, which I don't think he's ever topped since this movie. I mean, in Hannibal and Red Dragon, he did an awesome job, and I feel like Silence of the Lambs is really the movie that got Anthony Hopkins on the map. I mean, Anthony Hopkins really proved in this movie that he is an excellent actor, and Hannibal as a character is one of the greatest fictional villains in freaking history. So yeah, in this movie, but granted, he wasn't the main villain in this movie, but the villain we did get, the Butcher Pete or whatever guy, everything about this movie is awesome. Like the dialogue, the script, the building suspense, the twist, everything. This movie is just so well made. And I just got to give props. Silence of the Lambs definitely deserved Best Picture that year. And it's one of my favorite movies of all time. Silence of the Lambs is freaking awesome. So let's move on to number 10. The top 10.
I'm going to catch a beat if I go back again like last week. See this guy? You see this guy? This guy don't want you to have the money because he wants to come back there and squash your head. And I don't want to see that happen.
I have one customer sitting here. What I'm going to do?
Business is bad? You opened up a store in an Irish neighborhood. These are dirty, dirty people. Don't you know that? Sell potatoes. I don't know what you're going to do.
Excuse me, gentlemen.
You know what I'm saying?
Excuse me. Hey, you fellas come from Providence?
It's none of your business where we come from, is it now?
Fucking delivering cannolis or something?
What's wrong with this fucking country? Everybody hates everybody. Get out of here! Get out of here!
The Departed, number 10. So yes, Martin Scorsese. My gosh, who doesn't like Martin Scorsese, right? He's made so many excellent movies like Raging Bull, Taxi Driver, freaking Silence, Aviator, Temptation of Christ, lots of movies, pretty much. And of course, I think Casino, Color of Money, I keep going, Goodfellas, yeah, a lot of movies, so. But if I had to choose one of them to be my favorite and the best one he's ever made, it would have to be The Departed. It's the best movie of 2004, the best Martin Scorsese movie in my opinion, and one of the greatest casted movies, one of the greatest performed movies, one of the greatest directed movies, one of the greatest written movies. This movie is excellent from start to finish. I mean, it's expertly entertaining, expertly shot, expertly done. Like, I feel like Martin's never gonna top this movie. Not even Irishman, which is getting rave reviews. I feel like I don't even think that could top this. It's just, for me, Departed is the ultimate like twist and turn movie, the ultimate family trusting movie, the ultimate like, you know, it's just so many things. The Departed is like, you know, it has some of my favorite actors. It has Jack Nicholson, Leonardo DiCaprio, Mark Wahlberg, and Matt Damon. Now, think about this. This is the only movie in history to feature both Mark Wahlberg and Matt Damon in the same movie. Guys who look so similar. And the way the story flows is perfect. The way everything, the music is perfect. The music song is the best, one of the best movie theme songs of all time. The Departed is like definitely deserved to win Best Picture for the Oscar. I mean, this movie is near pretty much flawless in my opinion. This movie is epic and definitely a 10 out of 10. If you've not seen The Departed yet, please watch it because you will get your mind blown. It is epic. Now, granted, it does some of the things that you might not agree with at the end, but that's what made this movie so memorable for me is what they did at the end of this. This was like insanity. This whole movie is epic, so go watch it.
How come all you guys sit on your helmet?
You don't get our balls blown off.
Put on Sidewar Hop, make it loud. Into the Romeo Foxtrot, shall we dance?
Our first Francis Ford Coppola movies on the list. Number 9. Yes, Francis has 2 on this list. It's always James Cameron, but and Steven Spielberg, yeah, he has 2 on this list too. Apocalypse Now, number 9. Now a lot of people know by now. If you met me in real life, I've told many people many times. Apocalypse Now is my favorite war movie. Now Hacksaw Ridge and it's the other war movie I like a lot. Hold on a sec. Well, there's lots of great movies like Deer Hunter and Platoon, especially Hacksaw Ridge, my second favorite war movie of all time. But this by far takes the cake. Apocalypse Now is the ultimate war film. But the music, dun 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 dun, and the epic cinematography, and the epic visual effects, and the epic story, and the epic everything about this movie is epic. Francis Ford Coppola crafted a war film that has never been topped. That has never been quite like any other. Now, granted, this doesn't top the movie I'm going to talk about later, but this movie is truly something else. For a while, I was conflicted of whether to put this on the 10 out of 10 club or not, because, you know, I didn't know, because I haven't watched it in a while, but realizing when I put new movies on the list, I'm like, yeah, I should put this on the list. So, Apocalypse Now is definitely a masterpiece of a film. If you've never watched it, please watch it. I mean, I'm just going to recommend you all go watch these, because this is in my 10 out of 10 club, so obviously I'm a little biased towards these 10 out of 10 movies. Yeah, go watch them, because they're freaking epic. I mean, literally, Apocalypse Now is like just the writing, everything about it is great. What more can I say? Just go watch Apocalypse Now if you've not seen it yet. It's freaking amazing, bro. Now let's move on to number 8.
Here we have a quiet little motel, when in fact it has now become known as the scene of the crime.
You have a vacancy?
Oh, we have 12 vacancies.
You know, this is the first place that looks like it's hiding from the world.
I think that we're all in our private traps, clamped in them. And none of us can ever get out.
Mr. Albert Hitchcock has finally appeared. Number 8 is Psycho, my favorite Albert Hitchcock film. Yes. Psycho is one of the most iconic movies ever made, and it's one that stands the test of time. And for a while, it wasn't rated R, ironically. The movie I'm going to talk about later, it was the first rated R movie, technically, but Psycho became rated R later. So, when it first came out, I think it was PG. But it's kind of ironic because, you know, it's honestly not as violent as people would think. I mean, there's only a couple, like, violent scenes in the movie. The rest of it's pretty toned down. Psycho is just, for me, Albert Hitchcock's masterpiece. This is a movie that just shaped Albert Hitchcock. It's what made him famous. It's the movie that, you know, many filmmakers have been inspired by. And to me, it's just the ultimate, like, suspense movie of all time. You don't know what the heck's going to happen, and you don't know what the heck will happen, but that insane plot twist at the end is just so honestly one of the greatest. It might be my favorite plot twist of any movie. I mean, this movie has so much great writing, so much great character development, so much great visual cinematography, and everything is just perfect in this movie. It's the perfect suspense horror / you know, psychological movie. I mean, it's this movie is like Silence of the Lambs. One of the reasons I love Silence of the Lambs so much. Hannibal and freaking Norman Bates are some of the best villains of all time. You go to the top 100 villains of all time. Norman Bates and Hannibal are one and number 2. I mean, they're both right there. I mean, clearly they're the 2 best villains in movies of all time. So yeah, I mean, Norman Bates is just one of those most complex, most interesting characters. And that's what I loved about Bates Motel. Bates Motel wasn't as good as the first movie, but it was a great show. And this movie was the start of all of that. This movie has inspired filmmakers. It had a great idea with the chocolate syrup. It's revolutionary. This movie was revolutionary. I mean, it was not like anything else. It's completely unique. It updated the book perfectly. What more can I say? So, now we're going to move on to number 7, which is definitely a more modern movie that I think you all are aware of by now. And this is one of the reviews I did this year. So, let's move on to number 7.
What? If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile, and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile. If you
What's so funny?
Just
freak.
Gotham's lost its way. What kind of coward would do something that cold-blooded? Someone who hides behind a mask.
I used to think that my life was a tragedy. But now I realize It's a comedy.
You just smile.
Joker. Woohoo! Yes. We finally made it to Joker. Yes, I put Joker above all those films I just said. Can you believe that? I put Joker above Apocalypse Now. I put Joker above Blade Runner. I put Joker above Psycho and Silence of the Lambs. Yes, I put Joker above all of those films because I loved it that freaking much. Think about that for a second. I loved it that freaking much. Give me props. Give me props. Yeah, thank you, Tate. Yes, I love Joker that freaking much. Joker is a movie that just is still blowing my mind when I think about it. Like, and it definitely deserved to be the highest grossing rated R movie, and it's probably going to win Best Picture. I mean, this, granted, it isn't as high as the other movie I'm going to talk about later, which also came out this year, but I got to admit this movie's probably going to win Best Picture just because of what it did. This movie is old school, Todd Phillips' masterpiece that he crafted with so much care and passion. He did his research on the Joker. He crafted a comic book movie that you wouldn't think DC would be able to do. This is a movie that proves that DC can be great. I mean, and people doubted them. People doubted Todd Phillips. People doubted DC. But you shouldn't have doubted anybody. And Joaquin Phoenix killed it in one of the greatest performances of all time. And granted, while he isn't as good as Heath Ledger, you got to give the man props. I mean, he did his own style. And to be fair, he wasn't Joker till the end. But, yeah, Joker is that freaking awesome. And, of course, if you have not seen it, what are you doing? It's the highest grossing rated R movie of all time. Please go watch it. I mean, when do you not want to go see it? Come on, it's freaking Joker with Joaquin Phoenix and shit. I mean, come on, man. You know? It's just a very passionate, well-made, well-scripted, well-directed. Everything about this movie was just awesome, bro. Just go watch it. It's Joker. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to number 6.
Adiós, Suspiro.
The first Steven Spielberg movie. Finally. Raiders of the Lost Ark. So yeah, you're probably wondering, hey, what about Jaws and E.T. and Jurassic Park? I thought you loved those too. I mean, I do. Golden Age of Spielberg is awesome. All those movies are awesome. But there's only 2 movies I would consider of his that to be 10 out of 10, and this is one of them. Sorry, I don't know. I'm just coughing all of a sudden. Yes, Raiders of the Lost Ark is a masterpiece, just for sure. Okay, sorry. I don't know what's wrong with me. So, yeah. Raiders of the Lost Ark is a movie I watch about 6-7 times. And I remember watching this the first time. Oh, hold on. Raiders of the Lost Ark is one of the best movies ever made. I mean, as far as action-wise, entertainment goes, this is probably the most entertaining besides number 2 on the list. I mean, this is pure entertainment gold. I mean, you want to watch a movie just for the pure entertainment, this is definitely one of those movies. I mean, it'll keep you at the edge of your seat. It'll make you excited. It'll make you laugh. It'll make you, shocked. It's Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's Harrison Ford's greatest performance. As Indiana Jones, whether you like third, 3, and 4 or not, Indiana Jones is definitely Harrison Ford's best character. I mean, it's Indiana Jones. Granted, what I like about the first movie is it wasn't called Indiana Jones: The Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's called Raiders of the Lost Ark. And why is it called that? Because everybody that watches it is a Raider of the Lost Ark. Steven Spielberg put you in a way that you were part of the movie. I mean, you were with Indiana Jones on this adventure. And to be fair, this movie should have won Best Picture. The movie that won Best Picture that year didn't deserve it. This did. Granted, Steven Spielberg got gypped many times, so whatever. But, you know, nobody can deny Raiders of the Lost Ark is an epic movie, for sure. It has Christianity in it. It has messages about being who you are and being true to yourself and going on adventures, and it just has a lot of things, great things about it. Like, and then of course, who forget that the most iconic, most best opening scene of all time with him getting chased by the boulder? I mean, come on, it's Raiders of the Lost Ark. So, yeah, what more can be said? So, let's move on to number 5.
Choose your partners for the Virginia Reel.
We've sort of shocked the Confederacy, Scarlett.
It's a little bit like blockade running, isn't it?
It's worse. But I expect a very fancy profit out of it.
Well, I don't care what you expect or what they think. I'm going to dance and dance. Tonight I wouldn't mind dancing with Abe Lincoln himself.
We made it to the top 5. And kicking off the top 5 spot is Gone with the Wind. Now, a little fun fact. I mean, most people should know this by now, though. Gone with the Wind is technically still the highest grossing movie of all time if you count inflation. Understandably so. Gone with the Wind is the most rewatched movie of all time. And rightfully so, because Gone with the Wind is a masterpiece. Anybody that says differently is a ding dong. Look. Gone with the Wind is my favorite romance movie. And this movie's better than Wizard of Oz. I like Wizard of Oz, but it has its problems. Gone with the Wind doesn't have many problems at all. It's one of the most important films ever made, one of the most influential films ever made, and changed the game. I mean, Gone with the Wind really proved that romance movies can be something more than just, gooshy romance. I mean, Gone with the Wind is pure art. I mean, it's the reason why it's the most rewatched movie of all time. I mean, it's not because it's bad, I mean, yeah. I mean, this is the oldest movie on the list. Gone with the Wind came out in 1930, 1940. I mean, and it still holds to this day. I mean, you wouldn't even think it was made back then. I mean, it's just that good. Like, what? I don't know. It's hard to believe it was made that old. I don't know, but look. I mean, just from the character development to the story to the cinematography to the direction to the... I mean, this movie's long, but it just feels right, It's, even though it's long, you just don't want it to end. You want it to keep going. Gone with the Wind is just a movie I can go on and on about. I mean, granted, it's not as high as the top 4, but Gone with the Wind surely holds up. I mean, it changed the game, man. And of course, it's the first movie to have the curse word at the end with damn, which I don't know if I consider a curse word anymore, but still, it did something pretty amazing. And then what's great about it is it didn't feature that till the end, so they were smart about it. They weren't just, they were really smart about how they made this movie. Victor Fleming did an amazing job on this film. Everybody did. Gone with the Wind is a masterpiece, without a doubt. And it will always remain as the best romance movie ever made. So, let's move on to number 4. It's the most depressing and best Steven Spielberg movie, and most depressing movie of all time. Well, maybe not the most depressing, sad movie of all time, but yeah, it's Schindler's List. Oh, man. Schindler's List. What has not been said, that has been said. This was Steven Spielberg's ultimate attempt to win Best Picture, and he did win it for this. Rightfully so. This is his best movie, and man... I mean, I think the reason, that wasn't just the main reason he made the movie. He also made it to honor Rob Schindler. He also made it to tell a story, and he also made it for multiple reasons. Similar to why I love Psycho so much, Schindler's List did something incredible and also made this movie black and white. But Steven Spielberg took it a step further than what Alfred Hitchcock did with Psycho. And he incorporated something like what Wizard of Oz did. But not quite what Wizard of Oz did, but different. This movie's unique. I mean, technically, if we're really going to be real, if you're counting this as a biopic, then this technically, yeah, it is better than The Social Network. But I don't really count Schindler's List as a biopic. It's more as a story. It's more as, you know... I mean, I guess it kind of counts as a biopic, but not really, because it's not covering his entire life. It's not covering... It's covering other stuff besides Schindler. Schindler is the main character in the movie, yeah, and he is the main focus. But I wouldn't say it's covering just him. It's covering the other people. It's covering the Jews. It's covering the Holocaust. Schindler's List is just the ultimate Holocaust movie. And it makes you depressed. It makes you feel like, wow. Like, in all this darkness and despair and this terrible time that was going on in the 1940s in this terrible war with these Nazis, there was this man, Schindler, who rose above it. And he's like, screw that. I'm going to help these Jews. I'm going to do something about this. I don't care what it takes. And that's just a really powerful, like, more powerful than a lot of stories. I mean, people don't give this movie enough credit. Like, bruh. I mean, it's a story of redemption because Schindler felt like an asshole for supporting the Nazis. It's a story of, you know, passion. It's a story of coming out against all odds. What more can be said that cannot be said about this film? I mean, I had the treat of going seeing this in the theater when it came out for the 25th anniversary, and seeing it in the theater is such a special experience. I'm glad I got to see this in the theater, and man, it still remains one of the greatest films of all time. This movie changed the game, man. It really changed the game. And it proves that black and white movies can still work, and this movie proved a lot of things. I mean, Steven Spielberg got so many gyps so many times with the Best Picture when it came to Jaws, and it came to, you know, E.T., when it came to Raiders of the Lost Ark especially. But it took, I think what finally made the Oscar people crack was them crying to death at the end of this movie. They were like, okay, Steven, we're okay, you win, you know. They just handed it to him at that point, you know, because they were probably dying of tears at the end. But, you know, Schindler's List is always going to be Steven Spielberg's ultimate masterpiece. What sucks about it is Steven Spielberg hasn't really crafted a movie ever quite like on this level since then. This took everything Steven had out of him, pretty much. Yeah, and since then, Steven hasn't really crafted any movies on this caliber, or the caliber of movies before. Well, he has crafted good movies and okay movies. He hasn't crafted anything on this list. They took everything Steven had out of him. And it really shows. So yeah, Schindler's List still remains one of the greatest films of all time. But you're probably wondering, Tate, what beats Schindler's List? What's above Schindler's List? What could be better than that? Those three movies above Schindler's List? Yes. Very personal movies to me, and very awesome movies.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Yeah, sorry if my shirt looks different. I changed midway because I shot the videos separately. But now we're talking about my third favorite movie of all time, which is Terminator 2: Judgment Day. Now, man, this is the greatest sequel ever made. It's my favorite sequel ever made. And definitely succeeds the original in every faction. And this did everything a sequel should have. It expanded on the universe. It did a major shift change. It did a major but it still felt like the first one, but it did things better than the first one. Terminator 2, this is the movie, for a while, this was my favorite movie of all time, but since I've grown older, I've watched more movies, and I've, matured a little bit, and I've changed, but that's still, Terminator 2 is still high on the list. This is my, gosh. It's just, Terminator 2 is so great that no Terminator sequel after it has been able to match it, because legit wise, Terminator 2 is a masterpiece. I mean, wow. This is James Cameron's ultimate masterpiece. I love Avatar. I love Titanic. I love all the movies he's done. I love True Lies. I love freaking Aliens, of course. But none of them have been able to match what Terminator 2 did. Like, wow. This movie really was a game changer for special effects, for storytelling, for action, for everything. This movie is like the ultimate entertainment, like mind-blowing, like storytelling. It's just, wow. This movie did everything. No sequel, I mean, there's animated sequels that are good as this, but no live-action sequel, in my opinion, has ever been able to match what Terminator 2 did. Like, Terminator 2 is the canon ending to me. It's the real ending to that duology. James Cameron only intended to make 2 movies. Terminator 2 is the ultimate sequel. I mean, it's perfection. Anybody that says otherwise is a ding-dong, because, oh my gosh, from the acting to the storytelling to the direction to the... I mean, I really just want to do a review on this movie, because Terminator 2, to me, is just pure perfection. It is utter pure perfection. And what I love more about this movie is the games I played, and the fact I got to see the Terminator 2 battle across time and before it closed down. That also made me love this movie more. And it's just, man, every time I think about Terminator 2, when I watched Terminator 2 the first time, I didn't know Arnold was going to be the good guy. That was a big twist I saw in the middle. I was like, oh my gosh, what? That was crazy. He becomes the good guy. And then it's like, what other things? I saw a lot of other shit like about the movie. I saw an extended, yeah, that's it. I saw the special edition, extended edition when I watched this the first time, and it blew my freaking mind. Like, I'm glad I didn't watch the original non-special edition when I first watched this, because that would have not have been as good. But I still would have loved it probably. But the special edition really made it for me. This movie is, watch the special edition with James Cameron's direct, same for Avatar. Please watch James Cameron's director's cut editions, because they're like freaking awesome. I mean, they blow the originals away. I mean, I just loved everything James Cameron did with this film. Terminator 2 is utter perfection, and anybody that says otherwise is a ding-dong. You're probably wondering, what's better than Terminator 2 Judgment Day? If this was your favorite movie, what are the 2 movies that beat that? Well, I'm about to tell you. And this is a modern movie. This movie came out pretty recently. I think you'll know what it is. My number 2 movie is...
Some people move on. But not us. Not us.
Avengers Endgame. Yes, I put Avengers Endgame this high. Oh my gosh. Bruh. Hear me out. I mean, some people are going to be like, commenting, oh, Tay, you put Avengers Endgame above Schindler's List of Terminator 2 and all these excellent movies and Joker. Why would you do that? You're freaking insane. Are you freaking nuts? No, I'm not nuts. I mean, look, I got Avengers Endgame. You can't see it from here, but I have Avengers Endgame, the DVD, on top of my, here, I'll bring it down, actually. Hold on. Yeah, yes, I have the, sorry. Hold on a sec. Yes, I have the Avengers Endgame DVD right here. It's on top of the shelf. I always keep it there to look at. And my gosh, guys, this rightfully deserved to beat Avatar and rightfully deserved to be the highest grossing movie of all time. I mean, granted, it's not my number 1 movie of all time. And in fact, when I watched Endgame the first time, I doubted this was going to be my number 1 movie. But I don't think, no movie's going to be my number 1 movie. But this definitely got close. I mean, Avengers Endgame is such a personal film for me. The Russo brothers delivered on all fronts. It was the epic ending to that series, and my gosh, I could rewatch it 10,000 more times. I'm not rewatching it right now because I've already watched it 6 times already, and plus it kind of gives me, because of the Brian thing, which I'm not going to talk about. I saw that with him, and it was a very special thing we did together. I'm probably not going to watch Endgame as much anymore like I used to, but Endgame still, to me, is the second best movie ever made. I mean, not the best, but second. I mean, Endgame was, like, remarkable. From the visuals, to the direction, to the story. Like I said about Terminator 2. This was the Terminator 2 of this franchise. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, I played Infinity War to the Terminator movie and Avengers Endgame to Terminator 2. I mean, It's that good. I mean, Avengers Endgame. I mean, people say it's overrated. People say, oh, it didn't deserve all the money and praise. You know, people say, oh, Endgame, you know, it's, you know, yada, yada, yada. It wasn't as good as Infinity War. Well, for me, it is. I mean, Endgame is just remarkable. I mean, this was the greatest theater experience of all time. It topped my Avatar experience. I mean, even Joker topped my Avatar experience. But I don't know. Is Joker better at theater experience? I wouldn't say Joker's better at theater experience than Avatar, but it is a better movie. Now, Avengers Endgame to me was, you know, when stuff happened, it blew my mind. Like, I never had more emotions or more. I'm just so passionate about this film. It's just remarkable what the Russos and Kevin Feige have built up to that point. Now, if you've never watched the thing about Avengers Endgame, you're not going to enjoy it as much if you've never watched all the movies prior to it. I mean, I grew up with the MCU. I love these characters. Infinity War disappointed me at points, and Endgame pretty much fixed all the things that disappointed me about Infinity War. I mean, Endgame fixed everything that disappointed me about Infinity War. I mean, it was epic. I mean, it was like, oh my gosh, you did everything I wanted. Like, this was like, bro. The Avengers Assemble scene alone deserves a 10 out of 10, in my opinion. That's the main reason I gave this movie a 10. Was when the Avengers came out of those portals. I mean, it was, I literally cried. I mean, it was beautiful. I couldn't believe what the Russos did. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, because for years I was like, I know I'm not going on a tangent about the Avengers Endgame, but for years I'm like, there's no way they're going to have all those Avengers in one scene. I mean, they can't do it. They just can't do it. And they did it. And I'm like, what the frick? Are you flipping serious right now? That was the best thing. I couldn't believe it. I shed a tear. I mean, it was like, I shed multiple tears in this movie. When Iron Man died, when the Avengers assembled, when the Captain America, so many great moments. You can go on a tangent. I can go on a tangent about how many great moments Endgame has, but I'm really not going to stop. I'm going to stop because Endgame is a masterpiece. Okay? And anybody that says differently is a ding-dong. Now, the criticism everybody said, oh, Thanos and Thor weren't as good in that movie. I'm like, well, they had Infinity War. Would you really want to have two movies of shining? Thanos and Thor had their time to shine in multiple movies, bro. Like, you didn't need them to have another time to shine. And, like, another thing is, you know, I don't know. People don't complain about Guardians of the Galaxy and Thanos not shining in that one. I'm like, he's barely in that one. I mean, you don't kid on him for, I don't know. It's like, really, but whatever. I digress. Avengers Endgame is one of the best films ever made, and it's... But you're probably wondering, if I love Avengers Endgame so much, then what the heck could possibly be better than that? Well, I'm about to let you know what my favorite film of all time is and what Avengers Endgame, not even Avengers Endgame, could possibly be. And I'm going to tell you, so. The number one movie of all time, my favorite film of all time, the ultimate masterpiece, is...
I'm gonna speak Italian to Mike. Go ahead. Mi dispiace.
Ci sei.
Tu hai sapere che chi che è successo tra me e tuo padre fu una cosa di business. E io hai un grosso rispetto per tuo padre, ma tuo padre pensava antica. E tu non lo puoi capire che io sono un uomo di onore.
Tu ma devi sti cosi. Chi sai?
Lo sai? Che tu a sapere che io ho aiutato la famiglia Tattaglia. Io credo che ci potremmo mettere in accordo. Io voglio pace. E lasciamo perdere che tutti sti cazzati.
Ma vuoi giocare?
Che?
Come si dice? What I want, what's most important to me, is that I have a guarantee. No more attempts on my father's life.
What guarantees can I give you, Mike? I am the hunted one. I missed my chance. You think too much of me, kid. I'm not that clever. All I want is a truce.
I have to go to the bathroom. Is that all right?
You gotta go, you gotta go. I frisked him. He's clean.
Don't take too long.
I frisked 1,000 young folks.
Senti meglio? Michelozzo, tu mi capisci, no? Sei italiano come tuo padre? Tuo padre sta male. Quando tu sta meglio, il cambio ti fa un riunione e mettiamo tutto a posto. Sti fissaria, si deve finire.
So we're here. My favorite film. Now, you thought it was going to be Shawshank Redemption, didn't you? No, that's the most predictable thing. No, it's not Shawshank Redemption. That movie's overrated. But, man, The Godfather, it's kind of getting underrated at this point. I feel like, wow. Like, to me, The Godfather, here's my main reason why this is still my favorite film of all time. This film literally impacted the film industry more than any film that's ever been made. For one reason. Look, and the story behind making this film was even more inspiring. Francis got so much shit for trying to make this film. The studios were like, oh, you can't make it rated R. People won't like it. Oh, you have to tone it down. People won't like it. Oh, you have to change the story. People won't like it. But Francis kept going. Francis is like, no, I'm going to make the movie the way it's supposed to be. I'm going to make it the way the book was. I'm going to keep going no matter what. And as a filmmaker, that just really inspires everyone. Francis did something with this movie that has never been replicated, that has never been done before. And it is the greatest rated R. Not only the greatest rated R movie of all time, but the greatest movie of all time. Because there would be no rated R movies without this. This literally got rated R films on the map. Think about that for a sec. We wouldn't have Joker. We wouldn't have Silence of the Lambs. We wouldn't have any of these films that we love. We wouldn't have Psycho. I mean, Psycho was a rated R. Sorry. At the time it was released. Think about that for a sec. I mean, all these rated R films we love nowadays, Aliens, Terminator 2, all of them wouldn't exist if Godfather had not been made, bro. Think about that. Really think about that. Like, Godfather, because when Godfather came out, rated R films were not popular. They weren't They were considered trash. They were considered, oh, we don't want to watch those. Those suck. They're not art. They're not anything. They're not worth anything. They're stupid. They're bad for kids. They're this and that and this and that. And Francis is like, you know what? No, I'm going to do something about that. That's not right. And he proved everybody wrong. He made a film to this day has not been matched. Not Citizen Kane, not even Avengers Endgame, which had 21 movies of build-up. Not Joker. None of these films, in my opinion, have ever done what Godfather has done, okay? I mean, same as I said with the other movies on the list. Storytelling, perfection. Direction, perfection. Characters, perfection. Artist-wise, perfect. I mean, bro, when I watched Godfather the first time, I mean, for legit, when I watched Godfather the very first time, I sat there for an hour just thinking about life. I mean, that's just how great Godfather was. I literally couldn't believe what I just watched. I was like, what the frick? Like, legit-wise. Like, I don't think, you know... And whether people say Godfather Part 2 is better or worse, you gotta admit that sequel's great. But for me, Godfather 1 is still better. Like, even the sequel couldn't match what the first one did, in my opinion. The first one did something that no movies, not even the sequel, could replicate. Like, bro, this movie is just utter art. Like, utter awesomeness. Like, utter awesomeness. I don't know what the heck else I could say. I watched Godfather about 4 or 5 times, and I still can't get over how remarkable Francis did with making that movie. I'm just, wow, I'm still blown away thinking about it. I mean, the fact that none of these movies that have ever come out since then has ever topped my favorite movie of all time. I mean, it will always remain. I think Godfather is always going to remain my favorite movie of all time because it's just remarkable. I mean, it's just remarkable. You can't deny it ain't remarkable. Like, I mean, honestly, if you've not seen The Godfather yet, please do me a favor and go watch it, and you'll be blown away. I mean, wow. It inspires me. It inspires many filmmakers, and it changed a generation. I mean, more than Avengers, more than Avatar, more than any of these movies I've put on the list. I mean, Godfather did something that no film has been able to replicate. It's just a remarkable, fantastic, ultimate masterpiece of a film. I mean, that will never be truly replicated or done again. I mean, that was a once in a 1,000-year thing. I mean, it just will never be replicated. I mean, wow. The Godfather is my favorite film and one of the greatest movies of all time. And in fact, it is the greatest movie of all time. Now, people debate, what about Spirited Away and animated movies? And what about, you know, Citizen Kane? And what about all these other stuff? Well, for me, you know, I still stand by it. Godfather's amazing. I mean, just purely freaking amazing. Well, there we have it, guys. That's my 10 out of 10 club. I hope you enjoyed watching. And thank you all for 600 subscribers. Now the whole world knows what my favorite movies of all time are. You may agree or disagree, but the world now knows. So thank you all for subscribing and supporting me over the years. And I'll probably do something cool for 700 subscribers. I'm not sure what, but I'll figure it out. I don't know when I'm going to get to that. It took me 10 years to get 600, so it'll probably take me another year or so to get 700. But, you know, hey, you'll be there for the ride, right? Thank you, Meister Squad. This has been a great year. This 2019 has really been my favorite year of all time. Favorite year of film. And just, this year has been awesome. I got 600 subscribers. Some of the best movies of all time have come out this year. And I just can't believe, you know, two of the movies on my 10 out of 10 club are from 2019. Just think about that for a sec. I mean, 2019 is amazing. Like, wow. I mean, granted, it still didn't beat my favorite film of all time. Kind of hard to beat God. But, you know, anyway, thank you all for watching. I really love you all. And, yeah, TheTatermeister is going to sign out. And stay tuned for more awesome movie reviews. I think I did Parasite and either I'm going to post the Parasite or the Parasite and the Dr. Sleep review either before or after this video. If I post them before, then great, thanks for watching them. But if I post them after, go watch them once I post them. Alright, so thank you all for watching. TheTatermeister, and see you later, Meister Squad. TheTatermeister is signing out.
Didn't know that was your girl when she gave me top. Kicked her out the road, said thanks a lot. Damn, I love paper like a Michael Scott. I can do things that your man cannot. Slab boy coming down, I'm hot. Everybody say that I gotta be stopped. Even though my final form ain't none locked. I'm so ahead of you. How you comprehend what you ain't understanding? Count 100 bands and I watch your vanish. Diamonds going crazy like they on the dance floor. Got a lot of nothing I can handle. Flavorless, whatever, you should try a sample. Baby, I'm the boss like I'm Tony Dancer. Everybody tryna tell me what I stand for. But you know me, homie, you don't want war. Ay. Candy paint with the white on top. Lambo doors or the woo-wop drop. If you busy plotting on what